Today's video is sponsored by Audible. Who wears red robes, wields powerful magic, and destroys anyone who gets in his way? Nope, it's Raceland. Dragons of Autumn Twilight was my first foray into Dungeons & Dragons, and Raceland was the inspiration for my first D&D character. Hey, I was young. Right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. That's more than half off the regular price. Visit audible.com/allthingsdnd or text allthingsdnd to 500-500, and you can choose one audiobook and 2 Audible originals absolutely free. Christmas is almost here. Treat yourself or someone else with this amazing deal. And now what you're here for. How I accidentally DM'd an Edgelord cast of Mary Sue's. I love the game I'm running right now, and I've become great friends with all my players. But like an unplanned pregnancy, its existence and my responsibility for it were thrust upon me due to circumstances out of my control. Here is the cast list. I am a humble player turned DM. Goth Azamar is a big nerd and a longtime veteran of the RPG world who constantly talked about running games in different settings, but never followed through. Weeb Azamar is her partner and my best friend from college. We got along because we had opposite personalities. They were the crazy ones, and I was the stern, judgmental one. I just want you to understand that their actions in this story are pretty apropos for the course. There are 4 other players, all of whom are lovely people. So, Weeb Azamar contacts me about a cyberpunk game his girlfriend Goth Azamar is running, and I'm in. I show up at the Discord server, asking questions about the system and the setting. Goth Azamar is super excited to play with me finally. We've heard about each other for years via Weeb, and we're both excited to have this time to actually meet and get to know each other. I ask how many people will be playing, and she says she wants to keep it super small. 3 players, maybe 4. She's doing a heist game and wants to keep it simple. However, Goth Azamar grows increasingly stressed out as more and more people show up. Acquaintances I hadn't spoken to in years popped up in the chat. It turns out that Weeb Azamar, trying to be helpful, had invited everyone he knew to be in this game. In the end, there's a total of 7 players. Goth was not prepared for a game that big. She's starting to freak out a little, and Weeb, again trying to be helpful, starts demanding that people leave the game. People who they invited, their friends and mine. Weeb singles out the people they think are less cool and says, 3 of you will need to leave the game. Name, name, and name. Sorry. Can you imagine being invited to a party and then being told that they actually don't want you there? The people they've singled out are, of course, understandably hurt and pissed about this, since they'd been working on character sheets and had already gotten excited about playing a game together. I volunteer to leave instead, but Weeb says that no, the whole point of the game was for me to play with them. Goth is more mortified than ever now, and Weeb doesn't see how what they are doing is wrong. So, in a moment of idiot's genius, I say, hey, 4 of us will play Goth's game, and I'll run a separate game with all 7 of you. And so, a separate Discord server was born. 1 person dropped out, so now I'm running a game with 6 players. I'm unprepared, and I scramble to come up with an adventure for them. I've never GM'd a game on my own, so I'm a babe in the woods. I spent some time writing, and I came up with a scenario I think is playable. It's a fun fantasy story in D&D 5e. Simple and fun. We get character sheets created. All 6 players come up with something. And then I notice the problem. Every single player has created an edgy, brooding, self-insert Mary Sue character. It occurs to me that most of them have little to no experience with D&D, and now I start to panic. Goth Azamar is playing, you guessed it, a Goth Azamar, an edgy warlock with a succubus patron, and no morals or loyalties. Weeb Azamar is playing a plucky Bishojo Azamar who looks exactly like him, but perfect with no flaws. The rest of the players, mostly noobs, have created a cast of Edgelord loners. During our first session, I literally had to say, so actually, all the corners of the room are taken by other people right now. You could stand off and brood in the middle of the room or near one of the walls. You wouldn't believe it. Rolling eyes. But every single player had their character hiding in a different part of the room at this company meeting, leaving my poor dwarf NPC standing by the cider bowl, panicking that all his new employees refused to come near. So, because none of the Edgelord Mary Sues wanted to interact, when they did, it was only to drop some vague hint about their tragic backstory. I had to railroad them, kicking and screaming to the first game thing, an owlbear poacher with a stolen owlbear cub. However, Goth Azamar decided she didn't want to do her job, and instead went to the local tavern to try and scam the owner. So, we split the party immediately. This caused the plot of the game to drag on a lot longer than it needed to, and Goth got frustrated, because everyone at the bar was so nice to her, and it wasn't fun to scam them. Equally as frustrating was Goth and Weeb's constant flirting. Weeb was the worst offender here. They'd make a blatantly graphic sexual joke and then ask their girlfriend if she got it, and the rest of us would all be left grossed out by their weird, detailed, in-character public displays of affection. We had to instate a no real-life flirting rule, which made Weeb mad. I really think flirting is too light a term for what they were doing. It was more like foreplay, honestly, and it made everybody even more uncomfortable. Anyways, due to all this, we didn't get to the first fight until like the end of the second session, after which Goth and Weeb both dropped out. Goth told me that she was upset that everyone in the game was a cast of Mary Sue's, and that the game wasn't what she thought it would be. Weeb agreed that everyone was just too narcissistic and unfun. You guys were literally the worst offenders. Nobody was a bigger Mary Sue than you. You're the reason it's not fun. So, long story short, once they were out of the game, I was now DMing an adventure with 4 players, which is ideal. They were all noobs, but willing to learn and genuinely wanted to play my game for its own sake. We've been playing a few times a month for almost a year now, and we've become very good friends. I've become a much better DM, and they've become better players. Our story is fueled by their relationships and whims and wishes, instead of just me railroading a bunch of empty vessels. We all grew together, and I'm proud of the story we're creating. Praise the god, Goth Azamar's cyberpunk game never came to fruition. Note, I'm still friends with Goth and Weeb. They're both super fun people, but I don't think I'd play another RPG with either of them. Thank you for watching. Before we discuss the video, one more quick word about our sponsor, Audible. Audible members can choose 3 titles every month. 1 audiobook and 2 Audible originals you can't hear anywhere else. Start building your audio library today worry-free, because your audiobooks stay with you, even after you cancel your Audible membership. This holiday season, I'm giving the gift of the Dragonlance audiobooks to my little adventurers. Finally, we'll have something good to listen to in the van. I promise you it's better than listening to songs about sharks. Sign up now, get Dragonlance or any audiobook you choose for free, and turn your holidays into something epic. Well, with the 2 problems out of the game, everything seemed to really come together. Don't be that couple at the table. No one likes it. At all. Have you ever had some game poopers disrupting the session? Comment your reactions and suggestions in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel All Things D&D. Our next video will be posted in 3 days, so stay tuned for more amazing Dungeons & Dragons content.